Control is the most comfortable prison that human beings have ever built. Because there's nothing easier to control than a life that never moves. We tell ourselves that control creates security. It makes us feel important. It makes us feel important. It allows us to believe that our decisions determine our outcomes. And that with enough planning, that can protect us from uncertainty. But perfect control requires an increasingly smaller environment. When we remove uncertainty, invariably we remove experimentation. Then unusual people, unfamiliar ideas, and everything that cannot be justified goes out with uncertainty. Eventually, the environment becomes completely manageable because nothing meaningful is allowed to happen inside of it. In this episode, we're going to cover the final 3 sections of Chapter 1 from Rory Sutherland's book, Alchemy. Same facts, different context. Success is rarely scientific, even in science, and then the view back down the mountain. Sutherland begins with an old toaster where the slots are too narrow for thick slices of bread. It's obvious that the solution was to buy a wider toaster. Instead, he brought a bread slicing machine. He reframed the problem. And rather than changing the toaster to fit the bread, he changed the bread to fit the toaster. It wasn't a particularly practical solution because the machine consumed a lot of counter space, it created a lot of crumbs, and it eventually ended up inside of a cabinet where his family bought the wider toaster that they should have purchased from the beginning. But the thinking behind the experiment is valuable. A problem that is partially created by the frame surrounding it then can be changed to something that is a new solution. If you change the frame, then different solutions become visible. Sutherland applies the same logic to his apartment. The apartment has no elevator, and that can be framed as an inconvenience that reduces its value or as a guaranteed daily exercise in the free gym. The objective fact did not change. The meaning behind it did. We tend to prioritize things that can be measured: floor space, number of bedrooms, commute time, distance from a particular location, etc., etc. Qualities such as architecture, beauty, character, experience are harder to quantify, and therefore they receive less attention. However, something is not automatically more important because it's easier to measure. I have a theory that human beings ultimately want one of 4 things. We either want to look good, we want to feel good, we want to have control, or we want to be right. These 4 desires explain a significant amount of human behavior. And they also explain why we rewrite success after it happens. We want to look good, so we portray ourselves as a visionary. We want to feel good, so we remove the fear and the confusion from the story. We want to have control, so we pretend the result has always come as the deliberate steps of a plan. We want to be right, so we interpret every accident as evidence of our superior judgment. And by the time the story is told, serendipity has been edited out. And that's not what leads us to actual success. Sutherland argues that the real reason that success arises is usually due to some form of serendipitous evolution. It's spontaneous. It happens without cause. Things oftentimes arise because of an issue that was solved in a non-traditional fashion. By that I mean, we don't always go looking for the solutions that we live on today. Oftentimes the solutions that we are living on are the same ones that happen just purely because something went wrong and we found a way. Like the existence of graphene, penicillin, the rotary phone. No, that one was a little bit more of a discovery. But many of these advancements in technology were not the result of someone sitting down to actually find what works so that they can innovate. Innovation is often the child of chaos and confusion and opportunity. And it's by the willingness to confront the chaos that something emerges that is better than that which existed before. Imagine being the first person to find out that coal was flammable. Some rock in the forest all of a sudden is able to fuel a fire. That's not something that happens simply because we went looking for a fuel source. It's something that happened on accident. And then we just leveraged that accident for the betterment of society. It would be foolish to demand a complete scientific justification before allowing an unconventional experiment to bring said discoveries to life. If a conventional idea produces mediocre results, then we could just move on past that and it will go into the wash of the myriad of things that never produce something excellent. But occasionally something will happen that was unprecedented, something that we didn't see coming, that changes the way that we live life. Intentional innovation does not really exist. An organization can intentionally create the conditions for innovation, but it cannot command innovation itself. You can fund unusual experiments, you can protect people who test strange ideas, you can make failure inexpensive and welcome, you can create time without a predetermined output. But you can't schedule innovation. You can't write in serendipity. You can only create the environment for that to happen. Now, if you are a type of person who wants to be able to try things, evaluate things, put things out there so that you attract more people, that you do better workouts, that you create a better gym environment, give us a call. Let us brainstorm some of those things with you. Let us be the sounding board and ask the questions that may lead you to that serendipitous moment that gives your gym the advantage over everyone in your market. We're Enoch Marketing. I'm Colin Charles, and we will talk to you next time.